We had about 700 presentations last year made by 365 bankers
Wow.
around the state. So, reaching over 25,000 community members through these presentations. So, this could be anything from the Teach Children to Save Day presentations, like I mentioned. We also have bankers who will give presentations on, homeownership workshops or avoiding elder financial abuse, all kinds of important topics that bankers are giving information to the public on.
Well, it's like anything, Tom. Knowledge is power. And for first-time home buyers, they need to know the process of purchasing a home and the steps to take to purchase a home. And the more information that they have, the easier the process can be for a first-time buyer. Anyone who's purchased a home knows how hard and difficult the process is to understand the lingo, terms, and what you have to go through in order to be prepared to purchase.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Smart Start podcast, brought to you by the Equitable Bank. I'm Tom Sattler, and today we are going to focus on education as it relates to both banking and buying homes. Our two guests each bring a wealth of knowledge and experience and will share with you how you or people you know can grow financially. Our first guest is Cassie Kraus. Cassie Kraus is the executive director of the Wisconsin Bankers Foundation, whose mission is to empower financial decisions through education, scholarships, and grants. Welcome to the Smart Start podcast, Cassie.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, so education, financial education for kids. What's a good time to start a child into learning more about financial literacy and so forth?
Yeah, I think you can do it really at any age. I would say it's never too young to start. And of course, there are different age-appropriate ways to do that. So even with toddlers, you might think about starting to kind of play some of those games like playing store or ice cream shop, where they start to learn how money works and what the purpose is. And then in early elementary school, we kind of start thinking about maybe having a savings goal. What does it mean to save money? What kinds of things might you save for? And maybe talking about things like wants versus needs, or those buckets of saving versus spending versus donating. And then maybe middle school is kind of the time to start talking about budgeting, things like that, so that when they get to high school, they have that foundation and they can start thinking about, investing, planning for your future, and have some skills built up to be able to do that.
Great. So you've covered each of kind of the different levels of schooling. So what does the foundation provide in terms of for each of those different categories for elementary school, middle school, and high school in terms of tools?
Yeah, so on our website, wisbankfoundation.org, we have a resource section, and that has a lot of materials from really great organizations, and they're for teachers. They can also be used by parents or even individuals who just want to brush up on some financial literacy skills. So that's all available on our website. And one of our big programs that we do each year in conjunction with Teach Children to Save Day in April is we have a program called Reading Raises Interest. And bankers use our kits that include a children's book, and they go into classrooms and do a lesson plan with that. So this past year, we had Curious George Saves His Pennies. And so bankers would go into classrooms typically around kindergarten to second grade and read the book and do some activities to start getting kids thinking about what it means to save money and how they can do that.
Even I remember Curious George.
We all love Curious George.
So you said, so this isn't exclusive to just teachers and bankers together. So individuals, households can actually also participate. Is that in terms of the tools themselves?
All of the tools are available on the website, so absolutely anyone can look them up. If parents or caregivers are looking for things to work with their kids on, that would definitely be there. And it is really geared as well toward educators. So definitely a good resource for teachers or for bankers who are going into classrooms or anyone volunteering in that space.
So getting more statistical here, what do you see in terms of the need, or is there a need for this type of for these types of programs for schools to partake in terms of do they not have the resources, or how? What do you think is the need driven that makes the foundation want to be part of this?
Well, I think the most common thing that I hear when someone asks me, what is financial literacy? What's that all about? And, I say it's really about being empowered to make good financial decisions and to have the skills and the tools to do that. And the most common response I get from people is saying, I wish I had that when I was a kid. They wish that they had learned, how to make a budget, how to save for retirement. A lot of us didn't get those skills maybe until well into adulthood. So I think, if you didn't learn it as a kid, it's something that, it's never too late to start learning about those things. And it's definitely nothing anyone should feel bad about if they didn't learn that as a child. So the foundation we started in 2015, and the banks around Wisconsin all participate and get involved in this. And I think it's one of those things that is really central to the banking industry where, bankers are involved in their communities in so many different ways and give back. This is really one topic where bankers see this is important, that we really want our communities to be financially healthy and successful, and building these skills is something that we want to work together.
What type of participation did you have? In number of schools, or do you have those numbers? Or
Yeah, so we had about 700 presentations last year made by 365 bankers around the state. So reaching over 25,000 community members through these presentations. So this could be anything from the Teach Children to Save Day presentations, like I mentioned. We also have bankers who will give presentations on, homeownership workshops, or avoiding elder financial abuse, all kinds of important topics that bankers are giving information to the public on.
Great. Then let's transition over to grants that you also offer for not-for-profits. What type of grants, and if you can give, you don't have to get specific about who does receive those grants, but what are the drivers you're looking for and what does a qualified recipient of a grant look like?
Yeah, so there are a lot of really great community organizations around the state who are doing work with financial education. So we are looking for organizations that are nonprofit, or a 501c3 nonprofit organization, or like a school or a library could also apply. They're typically smaller grants, around $5,000 or under. And the kind of things we look for are, what is the reach of the program? Is this based in Wisconsin? How would this grant help them to further their goals? And as long as it's in line with our mission to promote financial literacy, that's something that our board would consider. And so we definitely encourage any nonprofits who are active with financial education or research to apply.
Okay. Do they need to be sponsored by a WBA member bank, or in terms of presenting the application for the grant themselves? Is that, or how would they go about? Do they need a bank to sponsor them? I guess is my question more so than anything else.
They don't need to, but typically we do have a lot of banks referring just because they're so tightly knit in their communities and are usually aware of these groups that are doing work of this type. So a lot of times we do have a referral, but it's not a requirement.
Without, again, as comfortable as you are with saying, what could you give us an example of a recent recipient of what specifically they were highlighting, and or who were they targeting and so forth?
Yeah, so one of the organizations that we've supported for the past 3 years is the Finance and Investment Challenge Bowl that's run by the nonprofit organization Asset Builders. And they do a statewide tournament on personal finance and economics for high school students.
Great.
So it's a quiz bowl kind of setup where the kids all have buzzers, and they prepare for this tournament, and then they can go on to the state tournament. So it's really fun. We have a lot of people from the financial services industry who donate and who also volunteer their time to be quiz masters and judges. So it's a really great event for high school students to be able to apply what they're learning in their personal finance classes or another curriculum that they're doing in high school.
Terrific. So this might be for both the categories about talking about financial education and the grants themselves. What's next? Are you looking to grow it in any way? Maybe specifically thinking of, because we talk, it becomes such a prevalent thing in the media in terms of student loan debt. When you go to college, that's going to segue into our next part too, but is there looking to expand to even to post high school students or trades and anything like that in terms of teaching that financial literacy?
Yes, I mean, the resources we have on our website and the work that bankers around the state are doing are definitely for all ages.
Okay.
I think financial literacy never stops. It's not something that you learn at a certain point. We all use it every day when we're making decisions about our finances. So I think the foundation, has a role in all ages and really supporting those kind of decision-making tools and capabilities.
Right. And then this is something that's near and dear to my heart because I've been able to participate over the last several years as, I guess, for lack of better word, to be part of the selection committee for the scholarships that happen in the spring.
Yeah.
Could you talk about the scholarships and kind of the differentiations, the number of scholarships that are offered through the foundation?
Yes, so we have two different types of scholarships. One is an agricultural banking scholarship. So that's a pretty niche one where we're looking to kind of fuel those talent pipelines in our rural communities in the financial services industry. And then in spring, we have a broader scholarship that we just call our Wisconsin Bankers Foundation Spring Scholarship. And
Aptly named.
yes, and it is open to any student who is either a graduating high school senior or a current student who will be attending a Wisconsin college, university, or technical college. So it can be public or private. And you do not have to be pursuing a career in the financial services industry. A lot of the applicants are, but really we're looking to see that you can articulate, what is financial literacy? Why is this important? And kind of what you were alluding to earlier, if I'm going to pursue higher education, what's my outcome going to be? What kind of future career is going to be in proportion with the debt that I might have to take out, those kind of things. So there are 4 scholarships that we give away each spring, and they're $2,000 each. So that'll be coming up around February to be able to apply for that.
And you said that there isn't a prerequisite to be part of banking, but it seems that that's naturally what's gravitating, that either employees or children of employees or relatives of employees tend to apply, and or there are specific to, for instance, if a high school student is a teller, or even a college student who maybe is a teller can also apply. Is there a variation too, or is it basically opened up to everybody in terms of basically there's 4 scholarships regardless of what your expected career path is going to be?
Yes, well, typically we do have bank employees or children of bank employees certainly applying, and a career in the financial services industry or a goal in that industry is preferred. But really, just being able to say, why financial literacy is important and how these skills benefit you, and have some kind of application for that for your future is kind of the thing that we're looking for.
And what are the things that stand out when these applications? What are the requirements, I guess, to apply? Can I just write my name in and say, "Hey, throw me in the lottery," or is there any? Do they have to put any effort into it?
Well, we get some really creative
Yeah, me too.
applications, actually, as you know. I mean, we've had video applications, PowerPoint presentations. It could even be kind of TikTok style videos. So just being able to show that you've given thought, and we see such great applications from students who've really put a lot of effort into knowing, what their career path might be and how they're going to pay for their college education, how they're going to make choices that make it affordable for them to pursue higher education. So it's really great to see how much the students are thinking about this path and all of the choices that go along with that.
So how would, as we move into February is when the application process starts, how would a student, high school or college student, be able to find out more about the application process?
Yeah, so our website is wisbankfoundation.org. It'll be there. We also send out emails to banks around the state to get the word out to their employees and to their customers. And we also send out some notifications to high school guidance counselors and programs at colleges and universities around the state, too.
Yeah, so if you're in high school or college, students, go to your bank not your credit union. Go to your bank and see if you can apply for the scholarship. And again, it's really it's been very interesting for me to be able to learn more about that as well too. So, any other thoughts just in general with regard to financial literacy? Why did you choose this path in terms of financial helping those and looking for financial literacy?
Well, I think it's just one of those skills that we might not talk about a lot, but we use them every day. I mean, everyone is thinking about how they manage their money, what kind of decisions they make, how they're saving for their future. And, it's one of the most important things. It's really up there with reading and writing to be able to, have those skills that will contribute to your well-being for your whole life. So, from that standpoint, I think it's just such an important thing. And it's really been rewarding to work with the foundation and all of our volunteers to be able to help community members across our state.
Do you have one story from any of the different categories, whether it's grants, scholarships, with the students? Do you have any personal favorite stories that you'd like to share with us?
There are so many.
You don't want to single one out?
Well, I think this past year I
Yeah.
had the chance to start volunteering in my daughter's classroom to do some of these financial literacy
perfect.
presentations. And what was really fun about it too was just seeing how it snowballed. So, like I said earlier, everyone says, "Oh, I wish I had that when I was a kid." And so even when we were checking in to go into my daughter's school, the school secretary said, "Oh, can you come to my kid's classroom? This would be great for them." And then, the teacher that we presented in the classroom, she said, "Oh, could you do this for the rest of my teaching team too, for the other classes in the school?" So there's just so much enthusiasm for it. And I think people really do recognize how important it is. So it was fun just to see the momentum building.
Yeah, that's awesome. So again, if you wouldn't mind, go over the different ways in which people could find out about any of the foundation tools at their disposal, whether it's for the grants, whether it's for the financial education, or whether it's for the scholarships. What's the best way to get a hold of?
Yeah, we have a contact form on our website, so that's really the place to go, and all of the information is on there. The applications can all be found on there. And, also there are a lot of bankers statewide who are involved. So if you're ever looking for someone to present on a topic, if you have a community organization or a classroom or a youth group and you want someone to come and talk about something or do an educational presentation, definitely get in touch with us and we'll try and connect you with the right people.
Terrific. Anything else you'd like to add today?
I don't think so. This has been great. Thank you so much for having me. It's really nice to be able to talk about this topic and really appreciate your support of the foundation as well.
Well, Cassie Krause from the Wisconsin Bankers Foundation, thanks for joining us on the Smart Start podcast. Trina Bond is the Executive Director of Housing Resources Incorporated of Milwaukee, an organization dedicated to preparing people for sustainable homeownership and fostering financial empowerment. Welcome to the Smart Start podcast, Trina.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate the invitation. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about our HRI and state its significance for for the community.
Well, HRI was founded in 1991 by a group of clergy and savings and loan executives and other people who cared about educating first-time buyers in Milwaukee. At that time, most organizations, the housing counseling organizations that were around, were actually building homes, rehabbing homes, and then they would do the education as a part of that. Housing Resources was founded specifically to educate low, moderate income, and minority buyers so they understood the process of purchasing their first home.
And what is why is education so critical for individuals looking to purchase a home?
Well, it's like anything, Tom. Knowledge is power. And for first time home buyers, they need to know the process of purchasing a home and the steps to take to purchase a home. And the more information that they have, the easier the process can be for a first time buyer. Anyone who's purchased a home knows how hard and difficult the process is to understand the lingo, terms, and what you have to go through in order to be prepared to purchase. So the education is important just so people know how to purchase a home, one. Also, some of the loan products that, the banks have require the home buyer education,
Hmm.
which is great, as they should. And also, it's helpful for people to understand what they need to do, how much they need to save, learn if they're ready to buy. So it's very important.
And these are in-person classes that future homeowners are able to attend. And how many weeks does that take? Is that for
Yeah.
the
Well, we right now we have in-person classes
okay?
over the summer months, and they're virtual over the
Okay.
winter months.
Okay.
So people can the classes are we hold them on at times that are convenient for people
Okay.
to attend. So we have evening classes that would be from 5:30 to 7:30,
Hmm.
and you would do a three-part class if you want to participate in that. We also have Saturday all day classes. So if people want to attend on Saturday and that's most convenient, they can do that. We have daytime classes for people that might work a different shift,
Hmm.
and that's the only time they can participate. So most of the classes are they're three or two or one part. You can get it all done in one sitting and be done with that. So we just make it convenient for our clients.
And can anybody participate in the home buying?
Our classes are open to anyone who wants to
Okay.
participate. There's no income limit to participate in the classes.
Okay.
We feel like education is important for everyone, and it's helpful if you want to purchase a home.
Okay, let's go a little bit historic. Since 1991, when the HRA was founded, how many homeowners have you helped?
So we've actually helped nearly 6,500 people purchase their first home since HRI was founded.
Amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. And
Thank you.
it goes beyond home ownership too, right? Do you have offer other once you buy the home, you also offer additional kind of continuing on during home
Yes.
ownership, and also if for some reason, well, I'll let you explain that
I'll
rather than
explain
me.
it, Tom.
Thank you.
So we have post-purchase education and
Hmm.
counseling that's available for people after they purchase. And I'm glad you brought that up
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's very important. So we don't just want to get people into homes. We
Mm-hmm.
want them to be able to stay in their homes
Mm-hmm.
long term. So that post-purchase education gives them talks about the responsibilities of home ownership. One, talks about potential home maintenance that new buyers can expect, as well as just how to manage your taxes, your escrow. So we just continue the education after purchase so people can be successful. We want to keep them in their homes.
Yeah, and also do you still offer, I believe there if somebody wanted to do maintenance, there were I don't know if it's DIY or
We do. We do have some how-to classes that we also offer as a part of our post-purchase class. So we teach people how to do some basic home maintenance virtually right now.
are you doing that personally?
No, I can do it,
I
but
bet you
no,
can.
I'm not.
Okay, you're
Until
not
some
doing.
experts to do.
Okay. So now the big topic that we talk about, and I think it's from the Federal Home Loan Bank in terms of being able to get grants.
Yes.
What are some of the qualifications that are required of it? Do you have to be a first time home buyer to get a grant? And what are some of the qualifications and how much money can actually a grant recipient receive?
Well, there are income
Hmm.
guidelines for the grants that we provide, and most of the buyers they have to be under 80% of the county median income for the county that they're living
Okay.
in. The income guidelines, the grants have home inspection requirements. Sometimes you may have to get some things fixed. It just depends.
Hmm.
There's various grants that are available, like you talked about the Down Payment Plus grant,
Hmm.
the Milwaukee Home Down Payment Grant, as well as Hickory funds that we have, and we help folks to get any of those grants. They can go through our education and counseling, and we can see if they qualify
Okay.
and help them apply.
And you can actually have more than one grant
You
for.
can. You
Okay.
can layer grants on top of each other is what we call it in the industry. So people can use more than one grant to help to get into homes. Because I've seen it where people have gotten three different grants and gotten $15,000 to help with the down payment and closing costs. And I mean, because the rates are increasing, making the prices a little bit higher, as well
Yeah.
as the home prices, those grants come in handy to help people afford their homes.
And what do you see as the future with HRI in the next, you're going to be here for another 25 or 30 years, right? So what do you see in the future
Of course.
at HRI? What do you want to do as the next step for HRI?
Well, I think what we're thinking about as the next step for HRI is just consolidating
Mm,
some offices and also bringing everything under one roof so we can provide the tools to people if they want to borrow tools.
mhm,
Our education classes, have them on site, more of them on site. We'll still have some in the community, of course.
mhm.
We're growing, so I see us continuing to grow, to add more additional housing counselors as we need to. And also we're doing the virtual thing as well. So people can, they can be in their homes and do the education classes, the counseling, virtually if they would like to. So we're working on a hybrid model moving forward, I think.
And just to clarify, being Housing Resources Inc. of Milwaukee, you don't have to live or want to buy a home specifically in Milwaukee, although it's important to do that.
Yes, it
Where
is very important.
what you also extend out to other communities as well. Is
We
that
do.
correct?
So Milwaukee is our headquarters,
Right.
of course.
Yep.
That's where our headquarters is located. But we also have an office in Racine and one in Waukesha, and we have three total offices in the city of Milwaukee.
Okay. And let's go back to the whole process itself. Okay, I've signed up. I'm looking to buy my first home. What could I expect when I walk into that first class?
Okay, so the whole class is going to provide an overview of the home buying process for first time buyers. And you mentioned before about if people weren't first time buyers, if they could
Mhm.
qualify for grants. So I just want to go back to that
Mhm.
first, in that there
Yeah.
are some grants that you don't have to be considered you don't have to be a first time buyer to get.
Right.
So I think that's why it's important to work with the counseling agency so we can help people identify those things.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. And
Now
then
back to your question.
no, that's okay. No, that's great. Yeah. So and then so the general overview of the first classes. What are the other things that are important for a potential home buyer to buy, even as they're ready to go into
Yes.
start the classes?
So, when you start the classes, we talk about credit, what the expectations are for credit, savings, budgeting, and we have speakers that come in, such as, lenders,
Hmm.
realtors, home inspectors. So we give an overview of the home buying process, and those professionals provide their perspective, their role in the process, and some things that buyers need to really look out for as they're considering purchasing a home.
And what do you see as just from I think especially today we've had the housing market has been very tight.
It has been.
What do you see as what do we need to see in order to be able to your expert opinion of what do we need to see to be able to get more inventory in the city of Milwaukee? What do you see that needs to change?
I think there are various initiatives that are going
Okay.
on to address those issues, whether it's rehabbing some of the city-owned
Mm,
properties in Milwaukee, um, building additional properties is also very important, and as well as a focus on first-time buyers buying properties
mhm.
versus landlords that are coming in, investors that are
Mhm.
coming in to purchase homes. So though I think all of those three things are what we need to continue to see, so we can continue to see an increase in first time buyers actually owning their homes and owner occupying their homes.
And some of us, I'll speak for myself, may take for granted the whole idea of home ownership. What do you see as being what drives people? What is the desire or the dream of being a homeowner? What do you think that does for a community in its own right?
Well, I know that, owning a home is like it brings people autonomy. They're able to, have something that they've worked hard for. Many of us work, many hours to have things that we want and desire. And owning a home is one of those things. Having a safe, stable place where you know what you have to pay every month. It's
Mhm.
not changing every month, or
Mhm.
and you're responsible for the repairs and everything, but it's something that's yours. You have something to show your children. This is what you can achieve if you work hard.
Mhm.
Um, as well as it being an investment, because you hope that it appreciates
Yep.
over time.
Yep.
And that if you decide to sell the home, that you actually, get a return on your investment. So I think it's all of those things. And as far as home buyers, they add to neighborhoods, of course, because they have a voice and they tend to speak up more when you own your home. You're more concerned about things that are going on in the neighborhood, and you're reporting things that maybe shouldn't go on in the neighborhood if you see those things. Taking care of your property, of course, and as I said, hopefully the values are increasing over time, and you're able to use that equity in that property or sell the home uh, for a profit, in the future.
If somebody is struggling with making their mortgage payment, what do you suggest, or what would HRI be able to assist with, or what would you tell somebody like that?
So we would have them give us a call. That would be the first thing to do. We have counselors, post-purchase counselors that are available to work with them one-on-one. We advocate on their behalf. We contact their mortgage companies on their behalf. Maybe they're at work, even we're calling, and we can work once they come in, of course, and give us the permission and consent to do so. We can work with the mortgage company to try to do a workout plan with the mortgage company on their behalf, so that it could give them a little relief, because like you said, things do happen. And I think it's so important that we, not, like I said before, not only help people get in homes, but we actually help keep them in homes. So we're a resource for that. We're one of the only resources for that service in the city of Milwaukee. So we want people to call. We want to advocate on their behalf. We want them to keep their homes, because that defeats our whole purpose if people lose their homes that they work so hard to get.
Right. And I know you can give me 6,000 examples, but what are a
I
couple
can.
of the stories that just stick out, even over the last several months, that just kind of warm your heart, or just are something that would just let our viewers or listeners understand exactly what what HRI is all about?
Well, one of the most recent stories is Daryl, who came to our organization. He came right before his 20th birthday, which is rare
Yeah.
for someone so young to purchase a home, but we love it.
Yeah.
And he was expecting a child, and then had his mom, cheering him on the sidelines, and nudging him a little bit to work on purchasing a home. So he came to our program, and he was purchasing a condo, actually, which is a rare too, but hey, everybody has their own thing. He purchased in a condo, and the appraisal came in just high or lower than the actual purchase price. So that was an issue that we had to help him work through. So luckily the seller was able to lower the price of the home, and he actually got it, and actually got Milwaukee Home down payment as well as DPP, which helped him to be able to purchase, and that was $15,000 to help get him in. So I mean, with his age and the story, his story, and his mom, that kind of inspired me, and I was just excited to see such a young person, investing in their family and future.
And I've also heard of the converse. Is in one of our previous episodes, Veron and Mary Edwards discussed a 90-year-old who actually
Yes. Yes.
purchased her first home.
Those are exciting to me too, as well, because you're never too old to purchase.
Right.
And
And
there's an age that, the younger age to purchase, but 20, yeah, that was great to see.
that's
But
great.
90 is great to hear as well.
It's phenomenal. For those interested in HRI services, where can they find more information, or what's the best way to get a hold of you or one of your counselors?
Yes, they can contact our office, and our phone number is 414-461-6330. If they want to read about us and learn a little bit more about our organization, then they can look at our website, and it's www.hri-wi.org.
Trina Bond, thanks so much for joining us on the Smart Start podcast.
Thank you for having me, Tom. I appreciate it.
Thanks again for joining us for the Smart Start podcast, brought to you by the Equitable Bank. I'd like to thank our guest, Cassie Kraus from the Wisconsin Bankers Foundation, and Trina Bond from Housing Resources Milwaukee for joining us today. And remember, there are no problems, only solutions. See you the next time.